Having lived in the Sydney Basin for most of my life, sandstone is the one rock I can confidently tell you so much about. Sandstone is a clastic sedimentary rock composed mostly of quartz grains, but can contain some other minerals and fragments. There will also be a cement of some kind or a fine grain matrix holding everything together. The minerals in sandstone usually come from other rocks that have been weathered, eroded, and deposited in environments like beaches, rivers, or deserts. Sandstones with a high amount of quartz are considered mature due to all or most other minerals or fragments being separated, leaving the quartz behind. Sandstone with more of a mix of minerals and fragments with a fine-grained matrix are considered immature because they are a poorly sorted mix of everything. The cement that holds some types of sandstone together usually comes from water that moves through the minerals and fragments and deposits calcite or silica. After enough time and pressure, everything is then compacted and lithified to form a sandstone. Sandstones can be classified into arenites and wackies, though there are a few other classifications within these two. What determines whether a sandstone is an arenite or a wacky is composition, grain size, and grain shape. Arenites have relatively large grains, ranging from a couple of millimeters to a few centimeters. They are well sorted and can be fairly round, with exceptions, and usually there is only a small amount of cement or matrix. Wackies have much smaller grains, usually less than a millimeter to a couple of millimeters. They aren't well sorted and can be angular, with a composition that contains between 15 to 75% fine-grained matrix. Some examples would be quartz arenite and grey wacky. Different colours in sandstone are usually related to iron oxides either coating the quartz grains or existing in the cement or matrix. Wackies may have a coloration due to the mix of material and the fine-grained matrix. An example would be red sandstone. Sandstone contains some pretty cool structures that often reflect the environment the initial sediments were deposited in, and also processes that occurred sometime prior to or after lithification. Sedimentary structures are things like cross-bedding, ripples, or graded bedding, and these features can be very helpful in determining if a sandstone was deposited in a beach environment, a river system, a turbidity current, and so on. Other structures like honeycomb weathering are formed after lithification and are usually in response to exposure to the elements. Lysogang rings or banding and iron deposits are thought to form due to the movement of water through the sediments or sandstone depositing the iron. Sandstone has been and is still used in construction and for decorations and tools. Because mature sandstones have a high degree of permeability, it makes them very good petroleum reservoirs. Oil and gas can easily move through and be stored in the porous spaces between the grains. Currently, around 50% of the world's petroleum reservoirs are in sandstone formations.